I found me. No matter how far I go, I can never get away. No matter where you go, there you are. And all that kind of stuff. Out of this world. That's what we're making today. Crepes that are out of this world. We're going to be making our own crepes, but we are also going to be using store-bought crepes. Crepes that are pre-made. So we'll be making both kinds today, and it's up to you to decide what you want to do. What you put in a crepe is up to you. Today, I'm going to be making a cream cheese base. We're going to be using strawberries, blueberries, and bacon. Now, I know that sounds kind of offbeat a little bit, but the bacon in the bottom of a crepe with that cream cheese over the top with the fresh fruit, man, it is delicious. And we're going to show you how to make a crepe from scratch and how to wrap a crepe using the ones from scratch and the store-bought. So let's get started. However, before we begin with the recipe for the homemade crepes, remember, I like to tell you that baking is science, cooking is art. This is baking is science part of the program. And what I'm getting at is you need a more exact measurement. We can't blurble this recipe. We're going to make it as close to exact as possible. So this is something I really want you to try to follow closely. And now we'll get our ingredients for our homemade crepe batter. We need a half cup of water. I have a quarter, we'll have to do that twice. 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I put 2 tablespoons in my 1/3 measurer, and then I microwaved it for 15 seconds. Butter should never be more than 15 seconds at a time. Even 10 seconds would be better, but never more. 1/2 cup of milk, at least 2%. 1 cup of all-purpose unbleached flour, and then 1/4 teaspoon, that's the small one, of salt. And that's all we're going to need to make our batter. I lied. We also need 2 large eggs. Now we're going to mix all of our wet together, and then we're going to blend in our dry. You can mix the salt in with the flour and then mix it all, or you can mix the flour in and then the salt. I always advise mixing as many things together as possible before you fold it or blend it in. So all of our liquids will get mixed in the big bowl. We'll put our salt in with our flour, mix that in, and then we'll blend that into the wet mixture. 1 egg, 2 eggs. Yes, we consider those to be wet. 1/2 cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Now we need a 1/2 cup of water, so we're going to add 1/4 once and then 1/4 again. Now let's get this mixed together. One of the few times I advise using a whisk is only when you're using a liquid. There we go. Now we're going to take our flour, put our salt on top, and with a fork, mix it in as best we can. Doesn't take a lot. It's mixed in. Now with our fork, we're going to mix these 2 together. It's advised to use a sifter. Most people do not have sifters, salt or flour sifters. If you're lucky enough or prepared enough to have one, do it. If not, shake it in easily like I am. You never really want your dry to be more existent than your liquid. In other words, don't let the dry get ahead of you. You're going to get lumps. We can stir them out by stirring it completely. You can't get around it unless you have a sifter, but we can get pretty darn close. I have a sifter. I chose not to use it because I know most people do not. And there we go. Violin. It's creamy. Now, I'm going to put this in my microwave for a half hour while we cook the bacon. I'm not going to cook it in the microwave. It's just that in the microwave, no animals can get to it, and I have pets. No hair will get into it, and hopefully no other people will pull it out and touch it. So that's going in the microwave for 30 minutes. As you can see, I broke down and had to buy another pan. And of course, it's Lodge. Lodge is the best cast iron you can buy, hands down. You cannot get a better deal for your money than Lodge. And this is my brand new pan. We're going to start cooking some bacon in it today. No matter what you've heard about cooking bacon, here's a couple of facts. Your bacon will come out really good if you put it into a cold pan, then turn the heat on and flip it as you go. Bacon does not crisp in the pan. It crisps when it's out of the pan cooling. If you want your bacon to be perfect, put it into a cool pan, never cook it above medium heat. Flip it with a spatula, not a pair of tongs, and cook it until it's almost done, then set it aside. Do not put your bacon onto paper towel to soak up the grease while it's cooling, because all you're doing now is setting your bacon into grease that has soaked into a paper towel. Let's get started. All right, let's put our bacon in our pan. Now I have the bacon in the pan. I'm going to turn it on to medium heat. And we're going to let it cook. Okay, I don't know if you can hear it or even see it in there, but the grease is starting to come out of the bacon. It's starting to sizzle. So on a medium heat, it does take a minute, but it will start cooking. This is going to be some really good bacon. You can see here, the grease is coming out of the bacon. And just to tell you something while it's in my head, if you want to make really good popcorn, I mean really good tasting popcorn, save your bacon grease. And then next time you make popcorn, use the bacon grease. Pieces of bacon and all. In place of olive oil or vegetable oil, that bacon grease, you will have bacon popcorn. So we're just going to run some time out here and let it go and watch it cook. It's smelling good. These red handles are godsend. It's so hard to tell when a pan is hot. If you forget it's hot, and you forget a cast iron pan is hot, you're going to brand yourself. I've done it. You'll say words in other languages that you shouldn't say in this language. So we can see it's starting to cook up nicely. I always figure my first batch is my sacrifice batch. That's probably good enough for that sacrifice piece. As you can see, I'm just putting it on a plate. Now, we're going to take each piece, drain it for a second, put it on a plate. For our crepes, so they're going to be light and fruity, that is pretty good looking bacon. Right there. Good looking bacon. So, let's get a few more pieces going. That sizzle is one of my favorite sounds in the world. We still left our heat on medium. It's not going any higher. Now, we're going to flip it. And this round flips easier than the first round, because the pan is very well greased at this point. If you can see well, which I hope you can see it's not overly cooked. It's still a little bit on the lighter cooked side, but like everything else we do, it will continue to cook on its own. So get that scrap out of the way. When it cools down, my dog will like it. Still on medium heat, not high. You can also notice it doesn't splatter as much. There's less mess to clean up. There would be even less mess if I could turn on my overhead fan, but as I say on pretty much every video, if I turn it on, you're never going to hear me. Now let's look at something. This is the bacon that we took off. It was fairly uncooked. It is nice and crispy now. Now we're going to take these pieces, drain them, and flip them on top. We are not taking off enough bacon fat to cause it all to dry out. In fact, the heat will actually allow this to keep cooking. There's some pretty good looking bacon right there. There you go. 2 packs of bacon. We're going to let that grease actually cool and thicken so we can scrape it out and just put it in a container and save it for later. For our cream cheese filling, I recommend Philadelphia. It is by far and above the best cream cheese you can buy. I don't get paid from them. They don't send me free stuff. I'm telling you this because I want you to make the best meals, the best tasting food you can. And Philadelphia is by far the best. Now, I've left this out for a couple hours. I wanted it soft. And you can see, it is very soft. It's room temperature. Now we're going to add the slightest amount of orange juice. Watch how much I'm adding. It's a blurble. But it's a tiny blurble. That's it right there. And then we're going to mix that in with it. If we were making cheesecake, we'd be adding sugar, vanilla extract, orange extract, lemon extract. That right there is perfect. We don't want too sweet of a breakfast. Just a little more. Whoa! Another blurble. That'll be okay. It's going to be perfect. Now, we added orange juice. Now, we got that nice and creamy. Takes a few minutes. Now, let's test it. And that's beautiful right there. So, if you want sweeter, you can add a pinch of sugar, white sugar. I would recommend not. It's for breakfast, remember, but it's all up to you. Now we're going to add just a little bit of lemon zest, about half the rind worth. So on the very fine setting, get some lemon zest. Keep rotating it. The yellow part is where the lemony flavor comes from. It isn't really coming from the white underneath it. You'll smell it. Lemon odor, lemon aroma in the air is a very, very pleasant odor. Alright, now I'm going to mix it up and see if that's enough. You just want a hint of the lemony taste. Just a hint. I can just about taste it, so I'm going with a little bit more. You can quit here if it tastes good to you. Again, everything you make is up to you. I know a young man who would probably be putting bologna in it. Yes, you heard me right. He puts bologna in everything. I bet that's going to be perfect right there. Oh, and it is. It is. Now, all we have left is a few things we want to put inside. We're going to put blueberries. We've just washed them. Strawberries that we're going to slice up. And a few we're going to chop up really fine to put right into the cream cheese mix. And yes, shredded cheddar cheese. We already have cream cheese in it. It's cheese. You'll be surprised how well cheddar cheese sets off the sweetness of the fruit. All right, let's get started. We're just going to cut off the green part of the top of the strawberry. And for the parts we're going to put into the cream cheese, we're just going to cut it up into small little pieces. We're not going to really cream them or pulverize them. We just want them big enough to be seen and tasted, but not so big that a bite overpowers. There we go. Whenever you're cutting something, turn around, hold the bigger part, cut the smaller. Maybe I don't have the correct knife for what I should be doing. So, let's switch. Notice when I'm cutting, the tip of my knife does not leave the cutting board. We're not chopping. We're just cutting. And this is the last one we're going to cut up to actually put inside the cream cheese mix. Because remember, we've already got orange in there. Some of you may have added some sugar. I don't know. It's all okay. Now, get our cream cheese. Add a little bit of the strawberry. Mix it in. There, now we've got a good strawberry base. Maybe just a little more. That's about it right there. And now we'll cut some bigger pieces that people can line their crepes with. And we'll just slice and leave the slices whole. Leave the big slices just like that. Turn it over. Cut the small side. Hold the big side. And there we have it. We have strawberries now, cheese, blueberries. So everything's been cut, everything's been made, everything's ready to go. Let's make some crepes. All right, our pan has heated. We have it on medium heat, just a medium flame. And we don't butter or grease the pan at all. The butter in the mix will take care of that for us. Now I'm going to start with about a quarter cup. Just about a quarter cup. And move it around to how big you want your crepes to be. We might make it a little bit bigger next time. But there you go. You just move it around. Get it whatever size you want it to be. And work the edges free. Make sure the edges don't stick. You're not going to be able to flip it like you do an egg. You're going to have to wait till it cooks. Work your spatula underneath and flip it. It's more of a cake than it is an egg. Once it's flipped, it only takes a second or two to be done. And you want it to be a little bit rubbery. You flip it out. Now you see I've already made one. There's two. There we go. Heat's still on. So we're going to add more. We're going to add closer to a third of a cup. Whoa, that might be perfect. Third of a cup. Spread it around. These are going to be some pretty good crepes. If you find your batter is a little thick, you can add a little more milk. Don't add water, add milk. If you find it's a little thin, you can sprinkle a little more flour in. It's a tougher way to go, but you can do it that way. You can see the center's not quite cooked, but the edge is. So I'm going to work my spatula underneath, flip it, let it sit. I don't know if you can hear the sizzle. The center's cooking. Only takes a second or two. Flip it on top of the other ones. So we're just going to make a bunch. Sit tight and watch. You can see there that when we flipped it, it didn't quite go flat. But you have plenty of time to create them and fix them because they do not stick. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this one, we're going to flip it, this is our last one, we're going to let this one brown, so we're going to leave it on just a little bit longer this time. Okay, we'll let it sit, I bet we let it get nice and brown, and we did. Look how brown that looks, it looks beautiful. And we'll wrap the brown on the outside. So it's our last one, we're going to turn off the heat, we're going to slide that off, and they are beautiful. And what we're going to do now is, let me see if I can get that on camera so we can see how beautiful they look. And now we're going to heat up some of the pre-made store-bought crepes. And here you can see the difference. These are the ones we just made, and these are the pre-made. They're always darker. They look like they're made out of whole wheat. They're not. It's just how they make them so that they'll last longer stored. There's nothing special about them. They're not a pancake. They're just pre-made. And we heat them the same way. And we put them in and just warm them. You can hear them sizzling. They're going to be a little more tender. They'll break easier. They won't be as solidly made as the ones we made. They move in the pan a little bit. They're browner. Look like they've been cooked more. They're just crepes. There's nothing special about them. Flip it over, heat the other side just like we just did. Yep, my bird thinks it's amazing. He said, wow. He said, wow. And that's it. You can see they're already starting to break up. It's not a preferred way of doing it, but it is a fast way, an economical way, and they don't taste very bad at all. You have to slide it out onto the plate. You want to try to do it without breaking it. So you do it from the back and slide it out. And then you can straighten it a little bit. You can still straighten them. If you let them cool, they straighten a little bit easier, but they're harder to work with. These have to cool completely before you try to use them. So sometimes you can actually roll your filling and then microwave them. It's all up to you. This is a good way. This is an easy way. This is an inexpensive way. It's all up to you. There is no wrong way. And there you have it. Now we're just going to roll each kind up, the ones we made and the pre-made, and do a taste test. And then it's up to you to make it how you want to eat it. So, I like a piece of bacon down the strip of mine. You can use 2 if you like. I guess you can put the cream cheese first. And the bacon on top, just like that. Even the cream cheese doesn't want to go out onto this one. There we go. We're going to put a couple of strawberries right down the bacon strip. And if you like, you can add a few blueberries. It's up to you. And I do like, so I'm going to. Now we're adding a little bit of cheddar cheese. This is your choice also. You don't have to add cheddar if you don't want to, but I am going to. Now, it's not a burrito. You don't have to close the ends. You just have to find a way to be able to fold it. And as you can see, these don't fold very well. The ones we made do. So, they're both edible. They're both going to be good tasting. It's the interior part that makes the flavor. So, let's try it. Let's just try cutting off a piece of this. And we'll try that. And we'll cut off a piece of this. And we'll try that. Now you can put syrup on it if you like, any kind of maple syrup. You can put whipped cream on it. You can make a thicker cream sauce, whatever you want. I like them just like this. So first we're going to taste the one that was store-bought. That is still delicious. The bacon really contrasts the cream cheese and the fruit, and it's a delicious flavor. The ones we made, Not just because we made them, but you can taste less breadiness. The other ones have a little bit of a bread feel, consistency, and taste. That one tastes more like egg. So, it's all up to you how you want to do it. Buying the pre-made works. They're hard to roll. You're probably best off making it like a Mexican pizza. You put one crepe down, top it, put another crepe on top, and then eat it. The crepes we made, you could make that way. You can roll them. You can do whatever you want. You can make this a dessert with the egg. You can make it into a dessert. You can make the cream cheese filling with a little more sugar and make it sweeter. You could top it with a chocolate, whipped cream, whatever you like. Sky's the limit. It's all up to you. So there you go. There we have crepes. They're not hard to make. A little bit time consuming with the bacon and slicing everything. But the best thing to do is put them out, let everybody decide what they want, and put it out like a buffet, like an all-you-can-eat buffet. So, here we are at the end. I'm not going to spend as much time asking you. I'm going to blurble my way through this. Remember, go to CHEFKenDad.com for adult cooking classes, aprons, and hats. Go to CHEFKenDad.INFO to get the cooking schedule and pictures of everything we do on OutSchool. You can find me teaching the small humans on OutSchool.com. That's Chef KenDad on OutSchool.com. All of those places you can find me on the web. You can leave me messages. You can leave me suggestions. You can leave requests. Whatever you want to do. More importantly at this point, as always, I'm asking for your likes, subscribes, comments, everything. Leave your subscription. You want to follow along and get notified. You can ask for notifications so you get notified every time a new video comes out. Please, please, please help me grow this channel. So, ChefKenDad.com, Chef KenDad on OutSchool.com, ChefKenDad.info to help show you what's going on throughout school, and of course here, YouTube.com. So you can find me all those places. Buy an apron, buy a hat, take a class, or just sit and watch. But like and subscribe. This is Chef KenDad showing you and telling you that baking is science, like we did with the crepes. But cooking is art, like we did how we decorated the crepes. And remember, as always, blurble comes from the heart. Thanks, guys. Watch for my next video.